I am the demographic for a conservative Trump supporter. Okay, like the demographic. A lot of people have been sucked into that, pipeline that they call it, where the algorithm just pushes you totally conservative views and you start thinking that that's like what you truly believe. And I want to express to anyone else who's kind of like in that boat that it's okay to question it, and you might be surprised by how much you're being literally lied to.
The men are looking for purpose. They're looking for direction. The reason why a lot of men don't have purpose and don't have direction is because they are told and sold that their purpose, without being told directly in a lot of cases, that their purpose is to put your boots on the necks of women. That is ultimately every man's purpose in our society.
In my opinion, I feel like Red Pill went from how to self-improve, how to be a better man, how to avoid tumultuous relationships with women, to just how much we hate women and kind of like just looking down upon women and looking at them as just lower class. I don't want to say lower class citizens, but damn near almost.
This is literally what I do. This is where I started. This is my number one pleasure. This is the thing I love to do. I love talking about how much bullshit the red pill is. My bio is anti-red pill. Everybody knows that. I'm like staunchly opposed to red pill ideology. Red pill ideology, I haven't lost any of the fire I have or any of the disdain I have for red pill ideology. It has grown, if anything, because I see that it's like the red pill isn't this isolated thing that like only red pill men subscribe to. It's like the red pill is just like a more intensified version of the patriarchy. It's a more intentional version of the patriarchy, if you ask me, right? It removes the veil of why you do the things you do, because a lot of men just are going through the motions of misogyny, and they don't even know why. They don't know why they want to sleep with 1,000 women. You know what I'm saying? They don't know why they are compelled to cheat and make excuses for it. They don't know why they are compelled to want to sit a woman down with a baby. Like, they don't know. They just know that that's just how they feel, right? The red pill actually identifies why you should mistreat women. Like, once you get to a certain point in the red pill, it literally just tells you why you should mistreat women. It says they're less than, they're stupid, they need our guidance, they ruin everything, all this stuff. And so my disdain for it has grown, but I still hate it with a fervent passion. I despise red pill ideology. I do. We have been talking about red pill on my platform for over 3 years now. And every single time I talk to a red pillar about it and I ask them questions about it, they have this story about how they got into it or whatever the case may be. And it always starts off as like self-help. It always starts off as self-help.
I saw some other creators do this, and I thought I would too. I am the demographic for a conservative Trump supporter. Okay, like the demographic. I live in a red state. I am from the construction industry. I was raised religious. Like the demographic. Okay, so of course that's a lot of the media I used to consume, and I no longer am part of that camp, like literally whatsoever. But I want to explain the process of that, because a lot of people have been sucked into that, pipeline that they call it, where the algorithm just pushes you totally conservative views and you start thinking that that's like what you truly believe. And I want to express to anyone else who's kind of like in that boat that it's okay to question it, and you might be surprised by how much you're being literally lied to. When I was growing up, we were not political as far as like parties go. We were not for big government, period. Like, I guess you could say we're libertarian, but the Republicans aren't freaking libertarian. Like, we weren't Republican or Democrat. It was just like, we want separation of church and state because we're religious, and the government is kind of the bad guys. And that was it. So I didn't really think about politics growing up. Like, wasn't something I thought about. And when I got to college, I started listening to kind of what everybody else that looks like me that lives in this state listen to, which is, it was Ben Shapiro, freaking Steven Crowder, Prager University, those kinds of ideas. And even when I first got into those those kind of people, I was like, these guys are kind of assholes. Like, I didn't understand the appeal. Like, there's those videos of, like, Ben Shapiro being like, yeah, the name of Boy Scouts, that's why there's only boys there. Like, those kind of things were, like, funny, and you watch those, but then you're like, he's kind of just being a dick. Like, this is some college, like, freshman in college girl freaking trying to stand up for other people, and he just, like, shoots her down. Like, even then, I'm like, I don't really care for you. So I didn't really think about politics still, even though those are the ideas I had in my head, until I got into Jordan Peterson. Now, Jordan Peterson wrote a book called 12 Rules for Life, and I remember getting that when it first came out, and it was honestly great. Like, I haven't read that book since it came out, but my memory of that book is still that it's a good book. Like, one of the things that stuck with me is, stand up straight with your shoulders back. Like, be confident. Don't abandon ideologies is like one of the things he talks about. Another one is you find meaning in life through responsibilities. Like, this is good stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I like this guy. I started listening to a lot of his lectures. He did like a whole series on the Bible, and I thought it was great. He had a podcast, and I remember when I started listening to that, I started hearing things where I'm like, I honestly don't think I really agree with this guy. I remember one time he said, environmentalists and people who care about the environment or climate change only do that because they are trying to fill the void that religion left when they, abandoned the church. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I was raised super religious and we cared about the environment. Like, what you're saying isn't true. Like, I remember one time my grandpa starts talking about how climate change isn't real. And my whole religious conservative family is like, the fuck you talking about? Like, what? The environment isn't in danger? Like, haven't you seen pictures of glaciers melting? Like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, what do you mean that people are trying to fill the void of religion by caring about the planet we live on? Another one that stuck with me where I'm like, yeah, I'm not listening to this guy anymore, was he was doing some ad, like maybe it was for the Daily Wire, like I don't know. Anyways, he's doing this ad and he's talking about how people are leaving the church and how they need to go back to church. And he's like, a lot of people leave because they say that religion isn't true, but no one cares if you don't think that religion's true. You just need to go. I was like, what do you mean no one cares if religion's true? Like, if religion isn't true, then why would you go to it? Like, what are you saying? Anyways, those kinds of things. But his book, 12 Rules for Life, like, got me into Carl Jung, got me into learning about like ancient Sumerian religions, like cool stuff. And it branched me out into reading other things. Reading really changed my life, and educating myself on other topics opened the doors to like getting away from the, red pill side. And like, looking back, a lot of the stuff that he said about Marx is like blatantly false. Like Jordan Peterson's, comments about Karl Marx are just like, what the hell? It's not true. It's like straight from his conservative propaganda. And a lot of people know that. And I remember like when I'd read comments saying like Jordan Peterson doesn't really know anything about Karl Marx, like he's representing it wrong, I'd be like, well, whatever, like, are you trying to support the millions of people that died under communism? Like, I'm like repeating the stuff that he said. And then like when you actually branch out and read it yourself, or, learn history not from a 100% propaganda viewpoint, it's like, okay, yeah, I see what's going on now. Another one worth mentioning on here is Joe Rogan, because I was a huge Joe Rogan fan. And him bringing Bernie Sanders on his podcast was like kind of a big moment where I was like, man, I was taught that Bernie Sanders is bad news, but he's on Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan's like kind of supporting him. Like, let's hear what he's about. And then I listened to him, I'm like, yeah, you're making a lot of sense. When you educate yourself out of seeing the world in two parties, because like it's bullshit. Okay, there is not just two parties like Democrats, Republicans. Like that is a bullshit thing that they push on people to believe in. It's not true. Okay, when you see past that, you can really see the literal propaganda. Republicans and Democrats, conservatives, liberals, like they are all pro the system that we're in. They're all pro capitalism. The Republicans right now at least are honest about being totally pro billionaires, but Democrats like act like they're not. They act like they're above that and that they care about, working class regular people, and like it's kind of all for show. But just educate yourself, just learn new things, read books, see different perspectives, because as long as you don't, you're going to be told what to think.
I just did a video yesterday. A man was echoing almost verbatim the same sentiments, right? The reason why I wanted to show everybody this video, because I got another video that's it's different, but it's it's in the same vein. But the reason why, it was a couple reasons. A, because you see when they talk about deconstructing red pill ideology, they're talking about it from a political perspective. Because especially, I want to say this about white men, the way that they got into it wasn't necessarily through like the birds and the bees, or like men and women. That was a part of it, but they really, the thing that woke them up and snapped them out of it was the men that got out of it, the white men that got out of it. They were like, oh, the politics are off. The politics don't make sense. And because I talk about that all the time, about how the red pill, you have to address the politics, right? I was on another live last night, and I mainly talk to black men, when I'm talking to men, right? Like I want to talk to more of everybody, but I'm black. The algorithm feeds me to mostly black people. It is what it is. And I love my people, so I don't care, right? It doesn't, whoever, I'm not going to change my message to try to talk to different, those people. But I do talk to mainly black men, and I'm noticing the difference in why or how black men get out of the red pill versus how white men get out of the red pill. You know what I mean? A lot of the appeals are the same in this regard, though. The men are looking for purpose. They're looking for a direction. The reason why a lot of men don't have purpose and don't have direction is because they are told and sold that their purpose, without being told directly in a lot of cases, that their purpose is to put your boots on the necks of women. That is ultimately every man's purpose in our society, right? Now, they don't say that overtly. The men are looking for purpose. They're looking for a direction. The reason why a lot of men don't have purpose and don't have direction is because they are told and sold that their purpose, without being told directly in a lot of cases, that their purpose is to put your boots on the necks of women. That is ultimately every man's purpose in our society, right? Now, they don't say that overtly. And that's why all of these men feel a void. They're like, what do? I don't have a woman. I don't have access to a woman, whatever. And they're not clocking, they're not putting two and two together. But then they get into the red pill ideology, and it starts off as like, tie your shoelaces, brush your teeth, go to bed before 9 o'clock, eat your vegetables. And I'm like, yeah, that's weird that you need to be told that as a man, because your mother told you that, I'm sure. And maybe your father told you that, I'm sure, as a child. But yeah, whatever. You need a man to tell you that, fine. And I've always had an immense amount of pushback for any man that has been like, yeah, that's how I got into it. I'm like, that's not how you got into it. The thing, or not how you got into it, but the thing that was appealing to you was hearing a man articulate things and say things that ended up appealing to your baser nature, i.e., men pandering to you. That is what now they wrapped it and they disguised it, as this like grand message of like self-improvement. But the thing that really hooked you was the underlying misogyny, if you're a black man or non-white man. And if you're a white man, the underlying misogyny, racism, and capitalism. It was those things. Black men capitalism too. But yeah, because listen to this.
shit.
Let's
man.
touch on the red pill shit. We want to touch on the red pill shit and how, in my opinion, I feel like red pill went from how to self-improve, how to be a better man, how to avoid tumultuous relationships with women, to just how much we hate women and kind of like just looking down upon women and looking at them as just lower class. Not, I don't want to say lower class citizens, but damn near almost like.
Self-improvement, how to avoid toxic relationships, da 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 da. Again, I played today and yesterday 2 videos, white men, they've been talking about politics the whole time. The black men, oh, it's about, self-improvement and avoiding toxic relationships with women. And I've been telling y'all, because the red pill was invented for white men. That's why for the white men, they talk about it politically, they talk about it societally, they talk about it financially, economically, like they talk about all of these institutions that they feel like they're being left, kicked out of. Black men were never in those institutions, right? So the part that we glom onto, the part that we grasp onto is how to disrespect women. Like the lie we're sold is, oh, women are toxic. And that's why he kind of referenced it right there, how to avoid tumultuous relationships with women. I'm going to save y'all the trouble. How to avoid tumultuous relationships with women is, men, stop being tumultuous. The relationship won't be tumultuous 99% of the time if you're not. We're good? Okay, cool. Now, he also mentioned the self-improvement aspect, right? Cool. Black men, especially because a lot of us grow up without our fathers and without a positive male role model, white men as well, we are looking for a purpose. We are looking for, but we want to hear it from a man. The women have already told us what our purpose was. They've already given us tons of purpose, right? Serve your community, help others, be a positive influence on other people. Your mama been told you that. But no. A woman told me I don't want to hear that. A man comes in and says, walk upright, don't spit on the curb, tie your shoelaces. You know what I'm saying? And that you need to hear that from a man. Fine.
That's what I feel like it has become. It's became an attack on women. And it's just not in a good place right now to me.
It's in a terrible place, man. The red pill lane went from something positive and then got hijacked and spun into something I don't even know what the fuck it is, to where I don't even like labeling my content red pill no more.
What if I told you that the red pill was always toxic? I remember the first time my friend, who was the first like openly red pill person I knew years ago, told me what it was, and the things he was saying to me about women when it first started. Like he was like OG, like he knew like Rollo Tomasi. He got into it very early, and he was already extremely misogynistic. Like he was misogynistic before that, but he was he got more misogynistic after that. And from the very beginning, I knew it was misogynistic. Like I was like, what? I've told you guys this story a million times. Everything he would say to me, I would be like, that's not real. That's not how women think. That's like, what are you talking about? Like he's the same friend that told me my wife should basically like fucking have all the respect in the world for me because I went to work and she got to stay home with the baby. And I was like, no, she does more work than me. And this was 13 years ago. So like, this was before I even was like actively unpacking anything. I just knew like, that's fucking stupid. And he was already in the manosphere. He was already in the red pill spaces. So I don't want to fucking hear that it was ever a good thing. It never was. They just gave you the most basic bare minimum shit that like, objectively nobody could really challenge, like make up your bed, show up to work on time, work hard. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna object to that. But that message isn't worth receiving if it's also encapsulating the message of women are bad, women are terrible, men are natural predators, how to prey on women, pickup culture, all that type of stuff. I don't like a man telling you to make up your bed every day. I'm not going to look at him as a positive force if he's telling you those other things. And it was always that from the beginning. Always. I don't care if now you want to distance yourself, you want to rebrand yourself as non-red pill. I don't want to hear that shit because you are still regurgitating red pill ideology. You can say you disagree with the red pill on his face. You can say that, but then you're not changing your rhetoric. You're not calling men out for their problematic behavior. You're not exposing the patriarchy and all of its harms. So this is all lip service.
Because a lot of you dudes is fucking weirdos. How are you a heterosexual man but you hate women? Like I done seen comments like, I hate these bitches, I hate women.
Yeah.
It's like, you sucking dick out here?
You
Like what you
good?
doing?
Yeah, what's
like,
wrong with you?
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to
You're a heterosexual man and you hate women, though. So ask yourself that question.
understand. I get where the frustration comes from because the culture of women now is whole culture, is 304 culture.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of the hate comes from the men who aren't successful with women.
Misogyny, whole culture. What whole culture are you talking about? Now, women have a whole culture. Listen, this is why I don't be listening to y'all. This is why I don't be listening to y'all. When you listen to black men unpack red pill, I won't say never, but so many times it's a scheme, it's a scam. They're not talking about they're not talking about politics. It's whole culture and shit like that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you even talking about, bro? Ridiculous.
Because if you are successful with women, you have your pick. So you got the good women and you got the 304 women. And you could pick from any of them. But the hate comes from these dudes that's getting no play from none of them. So they like in the comments just bashing women 24/7. Like they was confusing me. Like, do you hate women?
Like, nah.
But it's like, nah, I just like to hold women accountable. Like, you're not gonna come on the show, say all men is trash, this and that, and then I ask you about your history, and it's like you picked the trash men that you saying is trash.
Yeah, that's
In real time, just repeat. He's saying that he's done with the red pill and literally is just regurgitating red pill talking points in 4K.
Multiple times.
And I think too, a lot of the shit you're saying right now is a fact. And just to piggyback off of it, the men that get no play, this is why you'll see people like, you know, kind of talk about women only want money, women only want a man of status, women only, which, hey, in a lot of cases is true. But I mean, we didn't all been like, if you got game, you gonna pull, like point blank. You
Game lies. Game is lies. They go, oh no, game don't have. Game is lies. Game is manipulating women. If you can manipulate women, you gonna pull women. You're gonna attract women. Okay. Right? Just listen, it's ridiculous. It's hilarious at this point.
you know what I mean? The man make the clothes don't make the man. So you gonna pull. And
Listen,
if you,
bro,
you don't got
not
no play,
to cut you off. Not sorry about cutting you
No,
off.
you good.
To the ones that's always talking about these gold diggers, make sure you got some fucking gold to dig before you start saying that shit. If your ass is broke, the last thing you need to be worried about is a woman coming to take your motherfucking money. Go out here and get some money. That's what the red pill was about. It was about teaching you to become the best version of yourself as a man.
It never was about that. And the reason why I wholeheartedly disagree with that is because red pill ideology never told men to go to school and never told you it never taught you how to think critically. It never told you the importance of thinking critically. It never taught you about integrity. It never taught you about respecting others and their autonomy. It never taught you to stand up for people that can't stand up for themselves. It never taught you how to build community. Never. It told you go to work, get a better job, work out, drink water, take steroids, and how to lie, have run game, and manipulate women. That's all it did. I'm so sick of y'all acting like now you understand that the red pill is problematic and then get up here and just regurgitate red pill talking points. Sir, you are still stuck in the red pill pipeline, wholly and solely. It is so much deeper than what you guys are saying. So much deeper. And you haven't taken 1 second to process it and to break it down. You are still up here being just as problematic as ever. And it really upsets me because Black men have no business adhering to the patriarchy whatsoever, not in this country. None whatsoever. And you can tell because when we talk about the red pill, we never talk about it from an economic standpoint, from an educational standpoint, none of that stuff. It's always women as hoes and women. I'm not understanding why y'all women are allowing men to misuse you, but you're not allowing me to misuse you the way you allow the Pookies and the Ray Rays to misuse you. When is it going to be my turn? That's always your perspective. It's fucking ridiculous. It's disgusting.